Hey there everyone, I'm back. Let's get into the update, starting with the diet update. That reminds me I need to log in my food into my Samsung Health app. Well, I weighed myself this morning and I am currently 171. Yeah, I went up from 169.8 to 171 today. I don't know what happened. I stuck to my diet and I got plenty of exercise. So what gives? Part of me wonders if it has something to do with the fact that maybe I didn't use the restroom before weighing, and so perhaps I still had food processing in me that hadn't been released yet. That's just a theory. Well, I guess we'll see if anything changes tomorrow morning. Now let's get into the food. In the morning, I had scrambled egg, grated cheddar cheese on top, with sausage jalapeno cheese sausages, or jalapeno cheese sausages, chopped up and roasted on a pan. It was made by my mom and our family friend. Very nice. I ate that and had a cup of coffee to go along with it. And then afterward, for lunch, I had leftover chicken and mashed cauliflower with the gravy, and for whatever reason, the mashed cauliflower and the gravy actually tasted really good today compared to yesterday. Yesterday, it kind of had a blandy taste to it, but today, it was very flavorful. I honestly don't know what happened, but maybe it has something to do with sitting in the fridge and the chicken sauces marinating over the course of like a day. Just my theory. After that, what did I eat? Yeah, I tried to make a root beer float using the keto ice cream bar, the caramel keto vanilla ice cream bar. I pulled that off of the stick and then I chopped it into pieces. I put it in a cup, and a glass cup with a handle, and then I poured some refrigerated A&W Zero into it. Overall verdict, it was decent. Overall though, I think I'd prefer it without the chocolate shell being in there, because you'd think that would add more flavor, but for me it kind of was a bit on the overwhelming side, I suppose. Like too much of everything in the kitchen sink in there. Keeping it simple with just the vanilla, caramel, and the root beer would have been better. Zero sugar, by the way. So yeah, I had that for dessert with a cup of coffee, and then for dinner I had a chicken with gravy that was heated up by my mom, and I decided to get konjac noodles that were in the refrigerator. And what konjac noodles are, they are a particular type of noodle that has 0 calories, which means 0 carbs. I cut the bag open, I rinsed it really good, and then I boiled it for like 3 minutes. Then I mixed it in with the chicken sauce and the chicken, and also there was some spinach in there, and I served that on a bowl and I was eating that, and gotta be honest, pretty good. I actually really enjoyed that. I think it's because the grease and the flavor of the chicken in the noodles helped disguise them from being like health noodles. It tasted more like the creamy ramen noodles that you get in those packets. That's what it tasted like. Sure, the texture was still a bit more wet than something like a ramen, which has a more starchy taste to it, but it gave off enough of a sensation of the texture of noodles that it wasn't too big of a deal for me, and I greatly enjoyed the flavor. What else? Yeah, I also did have some of that 7 Sundays, or I think that's what it was called, cereal. It's such a small amount, it's really not that much. I poured that in, and then I tried to pour some cashew milk, the last of our cashew milk, and I had that. Pretty good. That was during lunch though. And the last thing I ate was root beer with the 0 sugar root beer with, smokehouse flavored almonds. One serving, which is like 28 almonds. And that's everything I ate today. Not bad, pretty good. Well, after that, I suppose we can continue on with the daily update. Yeah, I almost forgot to mention the exercise. No dedicated exercises, just walking around at work like usual. I really need to get on the daily exercise grind if I really want to make this fat melt off of me. All right, now we can get into the daily update. So It all starts at 9 a.m. in the morning when I wake up, and from what I can remember, I was asked to help grate the cheese for the scrambled eggs that my mom and our family friend were preparing. So I did that, and we had a nice meal. I don't remember my sister being there at the time. I think she was still asleep. But yeah, we had that, and we had a nice time together eating, me, my mom, and our family friend. Then I needed to get dressed and get going to work. So I did just that. Now, after I got dressed and got everything I needed, I went on over, and when I got to work, it was the first hour actually didn't have a lot. It was front end work, which basically means bagging, doing front order delivery, takeouts, and sweeps, but no sweeps for me today. Only doing bagging or go backs, or wiping the check stands, things like that. Now, anything super interesting that happened? No, not really. I can't really think of anything for the first hour. Second hour was spent doing a lot. Yeah, not bad. Spent a whole hour out pushing carts. The weather was not too bad. And yeah, had a pretty good time doing that. Then I went on my first break, and actually, never mind, I mixed it up. The first hour was spent doing a lot, and the second hour was spent doing front end work. I don't know why I did that, but there you go. Anyways, on my first break, I went upstairs, and there's this YouTube channel I'm following that's trying to explore limitless energy through a thing called 0 point energy. And it's this guy getting like a bunch of different like batteries and like different conductors and like magnets, and like kind of putting them into this like turbine looking spinning device, and basically trying to find a way of making a machine that puts out more energy than it takes in, thus creating a perpetual or mostly perpetual energy device, which is very good. And it was a pretty interesting update video. I really did enjoy it. It was 22 minutes, and my break is 10 minutes, so I cranked it up to 2x speed so I could watch most of it before going back to work. Back at work, yeah, it was 2 hours of front end work again, mostly just bagging. Yeah, nothing too interesting to report. Punched out for lunch, I drove home. I went into the house, and as I was trying to figure out what to make, I remember my mom and our family friend and my sister were watching a TV show called The Chosen. And then when my mom saw me, she decided to make the chicken with the gravy for me. So she did that, which I was very grateful for, and I ate that, and yeah, very good. Thumbs up. Really enjoyed that. Then of course I had the ice cream with the root beer for dessert, and then I said goodbye and left. And when I got back to work, the last 4 hours, yeah, not too bad at all. I remember the first 2 hours was spent bagging. The third hour was spent doing a lot. I asked for my last 10-minute break 10 minutes before I needed to go on lot so I could get to work on lot immediately after my break. During break, I did some breathing exercises, and yeah, that was a good session. Then I went downstairs, and when I arrived, I basically did lot for a good hour, did some takeout orders as well, and then my boss on my last hour nearing the end when I was doing, bagging again, wanted me to take employee orientation test, which basically, my bad, an employee training test. I don't know why I said orientation. I've been working at the place I've been working at for like a good, over 3 years now. Silly me. But anyways, yeah, so basically this was like what to do in case there's potential safety concerns, like someone goes in the store who's a dangerous individual, what to do about different brands, things, corporate things like that. Pretty interesting. Well, anyways, after that, I remember after the employee test experience, I had 10 minutes left for work, and that last 10 minutes was spent doing bagging again. Then I punched out, and when I punched out, I got 3 multi vitamins for men canisters because it was buy two get one free deal. Plus, I do get 10% off at the store I work for if I punch in my employee code. So I did all of that, and yeah, I left, said goodbye to everybody, of course. When I got home, I had dinner, which was the konjac noodles mixed with the chicken broth and the whole chicken. Very good. And then the nuts with the root beer. And then I was watching a Papa Meat video while I was eating. Then my mom wanted me to watch something with her and our family friends, so we decided to browse through Netflix until we saw a video that was a documentary on the Travis Scott incident from 2021 from Astro World, where like a good 10 people, I believe, died. At least that's how many people died, it said in the documentary. And it was basically a documentation of all of the different ways it happened and how the people who were involved in organizing the event knew full well that it was dangerous, and yet they continued to go along with it anyways. So yeah, absolutely sad and discouraging and very depressing for all the families affected. Very sad. I was getting very tired after watching that, so decided to go into my room and record this update video before I get ready for bed, for which I'm going to be taking my vitamins, brushing my teeth, and going to sleep. I start work tomorrow from 12 to 9, so it's gonna be a good shift and gonna kick butt. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. That's pretty much it today. Thank you for joining in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.